long axis stroke number 2, backstroke. Let's just jump right in. So first things, we'll break it down. Just like freestyle, the two most important things in backstroke are going to be head position and then swimming kind of based off of that streamline position. So we'll build it up in a similar way. Then obviously things get a little different. We don't high elbow recovery, with more straight arm recovery, and then it's really important that the arm comes straight over the top, kind of in line with the shoulder and not out to the sides. We'll have drills for that, and then obviously always with kids, working on distance per stroke is going to be always all important.
So just like freestyle, on backstroke we're going to start with just regular streamline kicking, and the purpose again is to focus on head position, because when we swim backstroke we want our head position to be in the exact same place it is as if we were streamlining the whole way. No matter what the arms are doing, shoulder rotation, hip rotation, none of that, whatever is going on, that head should stay exactly in the same place. The other thing, especially with kids, that we want to work on is this should lead, the head position should lead to good body position, where everything is on the surface and not bent down like that way. And I'm sure if you've swam before, had a coach who really took the time to teach, you'll at some point hear that the body is like a seesaw in the water. So if your head and arms are up, something else has to go down. So your body kind of works as a seesaw, and the other way is true, right? So we always want to get the seesaw flat, and really it feels more like we need to swim downhill, if you've ever heard the term swimming downhill, because you have to push. On freestyle you push frontwards towards the bottom of the pool. Backstroke you push down here with your head and chest and your arms even. And you'll notice a lot of kids, if they cannot get their belly button on the surface, most likely their head and arms are just a little too high, because if you have something out of the water, something else has to go down. So try to get them to really push back and lean back into the streamline. I think that's really the trick behind this drill, and teaching kids how to be real comfortable with their head way far back and their arms and back pressing down into the back of the pool. So the next drill in the progression is just one arm kicking, one arm streamline kicking. So start off in a streamline underwater, a couple dolphin kicks, and then make sure when the kids transition from 2-arm streamline to 1-arm streamline, that head stays in the exact same place and this arm stays in the same place. We don't want any motion among those body parts. And at first, you can start, it's a little easier to do this flat on your back instead of rotated, but as the season goes on, I would encourage people to try to do this drill rotated. And really, when you do it rotated, the head and arm, the head again doesn't change positions. All you do is you bring that shoulder up to the chin, and sometimes we call it like shoulder to chin kicking, so we can focus even maintaining head position while in a rotated position. But at the beginning of the season and with younger kids, it's a little easier to just stay flat on the back and focus on just really good head position. Okay, now that we've mastered the head position of backstroke, we can transition to kind of the 6 and roll on your back. So same as the freestyle, take one stroke, 6 kicks on each side, take another stroke. The whole time we want to maintain head position. We want that arm, despite it moving and coming backwards, we want it to land in that streamlined position. As you notice here, I'm doing this a little more rotated on my side. So you can do it either way, flat on your back or rotated. I would encourage kind of transitioning from the flat to the rotated part kind of later in the season or with more advanced kids, because I think on backstroke especially there's a very big rotational component, because to get this arm in a good position a good strong position, you want to be able to involve these chest muscles there, and they can't really get involved if you're flat on your back. You have to be rotated a little bit. So I think more than freestyle, backstroke has a very big rotational component, so that's kind of why I'm talking about it so much. So this drill is really tough. It's called L drill, and I'll show you why in just a little bit. And it's basically just like 6 and roll, but instead of your arm being down at your side, you're going to be holding it up in the air. And at first, you can start off with just holding the position, and then later on you can do switches, and we'll have video later on. But essentially, you want to create that L, and I'm a little off. My angle here is a little obtuse, but that's okay. And the main purpose of this drill now is to focus on this arm coming straight over end over end, and not letting it go out to the side. You know, a lot of kids, especially when they're trying to go fast, this arm will kind of swing side to side or out of plane. So we want to keep things in the same arc, and this is a good way to practice that. It's also really hard on your legs because as we talked about before, like a seesaw, if you have things going up, something else has to go down. And this is a really good drill to do as a kicking set. Basically, essentially do the entire kick set like this, but with fins on, especially with younger kids. We don't want them to be focusing on surviving and not drowning. We want them to focus on actually doing the drill properly. So fins with this drill really work well. Here's the same L hold drill, but this time I'm doing it more on my side. And you can see here how we try to get the chin and shoulder to almost touch. It's still real difficult, and now the kicking is kind of more sideways. And when you do this drill or any kind of rotation based thing, you want to make sure that it's not just the shoulders that are rotated, but the hips need to be on the side too. And really, legs should be kicking sideways, at least on these drills. And it's okay to over exaggerate the rotation part while doing these drills, because once kids start swimming fast and racing, they'll lose a little bit of rotation. They won't quite rotate that far. So if you can exaggerate it during a drill, I think it'll benefit during the race. So now that we got our head position down and our arm position to come straight over the end, we can transition to L drill with a switch. So six kicks on each side, holding that L position, and then switching arms. So I like to use kind of the L hold with fins for my kicking sets, backstroke kicking sets. You know, as along with kind of variation of the others, you know, one arm side kicking, stuff like that. And then if I want to work on backstroke, stroke swimming, drill swimming, I'll transition the kids into this drill. So I'll probably use one or the other depending on what we're working on that day. But this is a really good drill to teach kids how to slow down a little bit in their stroke and focus on really good technique backstroke. Kind of forces them to pause in the middle of the stroke, make sure everything's in the right spot, and then take the next stroke. Focus, right spot, stroke, right spot, stroke. Just like that. So last but not least, the full stroke here. So a good streamline, a couple dolphin kicks. Remember, we want to integrate everything that we've been teaching ourselves with all those other drills. So head position, nice and back and flat. I can even bring my head a little further back. I might have it just an inch too high there. Arms come in right next to the head. We always want to swim in a streamlined position. We want to get back to that streamline to cut through the water as much as we can. And then, especially on backstroke, a big component is that rotation. So focusing on getting shoulder to chin and maintaining the rotation, not just the shoulders, but the hips as well.
So now we can move on to the advanced drills, and just like we said in the freestyle video, I won't kind of repeat too much, but these are for really specific things, for specific people and specific instances. So just be aware that these drills can sometimes be more damaging than helpful. So for backstroke, the important things is again the S pull, just like on freestyle, and this is gonna increase our distance per stroke. And then one thing that's unique to backstroke that freestyle doesn't necessarily have, but almost whether it's a short race, a long race, backstroke always has a much higher tempo and more of a windmill where the arms are opposite each other type of stroke, whereas in freestyle we were kind of more catch-up-y, and so that's kind of the main differences in what we can work on with these drills.
So here's one of the advanced backstroke drills, single arm backstroke. I like to do it with this arm out here. I think a lot of people would prefer to keep the arm down by the side. I think you can do it either way. Really, that's not the arm that we want to focus on. The arm that we want to focus on is the one that we're swimming with. And the main focus of this drill is to really rotate and catch the water and focus on getting a good catch out here, and then making that kind of small S pattern. That was a really bad S. See if I can do a little bit better job like that. Kind of something like that. And it's going to be a little different for each person. And even at the highest level, elite athletes, they can be really variable in how they do that. But really the main goal is distance per stroke, right? So we want to get good catch, good anchor, and really rotate and try to get power through the rotation. Now, the reason this is an advanced drill, just like on freestyle, this drill can backfire on you, especially with little kids who don't have very much patience. They'll just want to take one stroke after another and not really be patient and take the time to really reach. And you have to start, when you start the stroke, you have to be rotated on the side. Most kids won't do that. They'll just stay flat on their back and take one stroke after another. So you have to be patient, get on your side, anchor, and then really power all the way down to the hips. And another key aspect is when you finish the stroke, you want to rotate out of it. So right here, if you watch this hip, as it finishes the stroke, both the hand and the hip kind of come out of the water at the same time. So we'll just play it here a little bit. So again, this drill is kind of more advanced for kids that are further along, or if you're further along in a short course season can be 6 months long. So if you're getting towards the end and you want to try to something new, something fresh, try to get the kids to really work on their distance per stroke, this is a drill to work on. Earlier in the season, you can do the same thing, but just with double arm, just regular double arm elementary backstroke, and focus the kids on pushing fast and all the way through their hips. You don't get the rotational benefit, but you might get them to catch the water a little bit better. The other advanced backstroke drill that I like to use sometimes is a spinner drill, and I think it's pretty common. And honestly, I didn't do a great job of it, because usually the way you're supposed to do it is you almost sit up, kind of like that, up in the water. You're not worried about head position or body position, and by sitting up, it lets you really get your tempo up a lot higher than normal. And then as you transition past halfway, you lean back into the water and you try to maintain the same tempo as you were doing before. So here we can play it again, see if we can spot all the changes. So you come up first, eyes up front instead of to the ceiling. Focus only on getting as fast a tempo as you can. And then as you transition past halfway, you kind of lean back and try to maintain the same tempo. Now the reason we do it in backstroke is because backstroke is more, even slow backstroke is more of you have a windmill of a stroke where the hands are opposite each other almost all of the time. And the tempo of backstroke is just much higher than freestyle. There's less of a glide and more just stroke to stroke and a higher tempo. So this drill kind of works on that tempo part of the drill. But again, it's an advanced drill. You don't want to do it with young kids who really the focus should be distance per stroke, distance per stroke, distance per stroke. We can always get tempo and speed and conditioning in later.
Well, that was a lot shorter. Hopefully they'll stay that way. I know that freestyle video was kind of long, but thanks again for watching, and again, if you ever have feedback, just let us know.